And we're also tracking a growing wildfire in Santa Barbara, California. The fire has expanded to over 1,000 acres and hundreds of people have been evacuated.
Fire authorities are warning that California could see its worst brush fire season ever this year. On the phone is KNX Radio field reporter Pete Demetriou. He's going to talk to us about the fire spread. Pete, what are you seeing right now?
Basically, the fire itself is a couple miles up the road in Goleta, but you can see a thick haze of smoke that is hanging low to the ground. The fire's not making much progress at this point. It has expanded to 1,200 acres. That's a lot more than it was about 18 hours ago when it started. This fire's expanding for a very simple reason: the drought. You've got dead brush here. Most of this stuff is 80% dead or more greater fuel. So you got little green stuff at the top. The rest of it just burns like tinder. And when you add wind into the factor, well, things can get into a disastrous situation. Last night they had winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour, pushing the brush fire along. In some ways, the embers were spotting a quarter mile ahead of the main front of the fire. That was the major concern, that it was going to turn the corner and head toward Goleta and toward populated areas. Fortunately, it didn't do that, and they did get a die-off in the wind in the early hours of the morning. However, they still have an awful lot of open line here. They're saying 0% containment. So the work right now on the ground is for people to go into a direct ground attack against the fire. And from the air, they've got those fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters who are hitting the hot spots and trying to build retardant lines around the front and leading edge of this fire.
Pete, sadly, we have seen so many wildfires in the California area recently. What makes this wildfire different from the rest?
It makes it a little different because this particular fire is in an area that hasn't burned since 1955. So you have an accumulation of fuel, and then when you add that on top of the drought, well, it's just basically a tinderbox. The concern is that if the winds come in a particular direction, this fire could rapidly expand, jump US 101, the coast highway, and head toward places like Goleta, where there are hundreds of homes there. Again, this is all a question of what will happen as far as the weather is concerned later on this afternoon. The trick now is literally a twofold fight. Firefighters on the ground are doing an unusual thing. It's called direct attack. That means you don't sit back and then carve out an area, scratch a line down to bare earth, and wait for the fire to burn up to that fire break. You send crews with hoses in there and confront it head on. At the same time, crews are behind it, scratching out that bare earth and that break, if you will, in the line, prevent the fire from going any further. That's very tough work. They've got 500 people on the line now, and odds are they're going to need more if they intend to build that line and get as much containment as they can before the weather shifts in the afternoon with higher temperatures and increasing winds.
All right, KNX Radio field reporter Pete Demetriou, thank you so much for your reporting. We appreciate it.